Good morning, everyone. In this session, we're going to discuss about few of the main topics which is left in Python. They are lambdas, map, filter, reduce, and enumerate functions. In real-time development, which we most commonly uses while doing the development of Python applications. We'll go topic by each topic and we'll discuss in detail of each one with more number of examples. Let's start by enumerate. Enumerate is a function which can be used at the time of loopings. Most commonly, we use this at the time of looping a list or any tuple or any iterable. For example, without enumeration, and how it looks like, with enumeration, how it looks like. For example, I'm having a for loop now in range. I'm going to generate a sequence of numbers from 100 to 105. Okay. So here I have to give print of 5. So this is going to generate 8 numbers from 100 to 105. Right. Once you execute this piece of code, you're going to get the output. But it will only print the values of your range. Right? So here we got numbers from 100 to 105. Okay. When you are iterating this, along with these numbers, and you want a sequence to be generated. A sequence to be generated. And that sequence can be enabled with the enumerations. If it is a first element, you are getting the first 0, or based on whatever the starting position you want to give. You can specify that. And if it is with an enumeration, how it looks like. I enumerate. You want to use enumerate. You're going to pass that range values. So where from 100 to 106. Once you pass it as an enumerate, it gives you two values. One is an index value. Another is the value of your range. These are the two values which you will get. So we're going to print the values as a string formatter. The value is present in particular number of index position. This index position. In this way, we can do it. In a real time, this comes very handy. You don't need to use index method of your list to find the index position of an element. If you execute this, see here what happens. 100 is present in 0th position, first. 102, it is present in second position. 103, it is in third position. Like that, it's keep on incrementing. Not only this, by default, enumerate starts from 0th position. So that is the reason you are getting 0. And if you want to specify any specific number, from that number also incrementing is possible with the help of enumerate. Okay, so let me show you the other example also. So here, along with the range, we're going to specify the starting value. Start. And now I'm going to start the value from 50. Now I'm going to start from the 50. Now you get the value as 100 is present in 15th position. 101 is present in 51 position. Like that, the print statements will be printed 6 number of times. So here, you can specify the starting position with the help of the start argument. Okay, so this is the enumeration. This comes very handy because we don't need to find the index of an element. But the problem with the indexing is, in a list, always it gives you the first finding position. Got it? For example, I'm having a list. So I'm having a list of numbers, and I want to know the index position of number 1. So I'm giving index method, and this index is then pass the first value. It is always giving me the position of 0 because it is finding the element 1 at 0th position itself, right? So it is always going to do the same thing. But if you want to get the second value position, that is going to take a lot of work. That can be avoided by simply using enumeration, because it automatically starts the value from 0th position. So this helps us in a real time so much. This is all about enumeration. Let's move on to the next topic, which is lambdas. This is about, normally we create a function, right? Normally we create a function using def keyword. How we create a function? Use a def keyword. You give your function name, and if you are having any arguments, you pass those arguments, and you use implement some functionality to it. In order to create a simple function, you have to do these many number of steps. You have to use the keyword, function name, passing the arguments, and doing some task. All these operations, it has to be mandatorily implemented. If you don't follow this, you'll get a syntactical errors at the time of execution. For example, I don't have a pass here. Automatically, it gives you what? Syntax errors. And you have to make sure it is syntactically correct. We don't need to do all these things, and that can be implemented in a single line using lambdas. Lambdas is also called as anonymous function. Lambda function is also called as anonymous function. Okay, so what is anonymous function is? What is anonymous means? It is anonymous. Anonymous means unidentified. Unidentified or no name. There is no name to call it. No name. Those kind of functions are called anonymous functions or lambdas. Okay, so how I can create a lambdas function is use the keyword lambda. Use the keyword lambda. And you have to pass those arguments. Based on those arguments, you can perform any operation that can be called as an expression. Okay, based on this syntax, you're going to create most of our lambdas functions. Let me give you small examples by using lambdas. Let's take a very smaller example. When you are having addition functionality, you're going to take what? Two arguments, a comma b, and you're going to return the sum of those numbers, a plus b. Right? Later, you're going to call this add operation and pass some 10 comma 20. You get the value what? 10 plus 20, which is 30. The result will be 30 if you execute this. Okay, so the same can be achieved. The same can be achieved with the help of lambdas. That can be done as just use lambda. It is going to take two arguments. What is the arguments you are passing for this add function? Two arguments, a comma b. Pass those two arguments, a comma b. Right? Once you pass this, what is the expression you want to do? A plus b. That's it. This is all you have to do. Okay. So once you create this lambda function, just assign it to some variable. So here this variable is a. Now I'm going to take this add operation is assigned as a lambda expression. It is assigned to a. Just execute it. Now I'm going to do an add operation with the variable a. So now this is going to be my function. This is an anonymous function. I'm using a variable. I'm calling this 10 comma 20. Now I'll get the same result. Okay. So the usage of the lambdas is to read very concise code and readable. Got it? So if you put into use, you can do any number of things. For example, if you want to do the square root of the numbers, want to do what? The square root of the numbers, or square of the numbers, or adding of the operations, subtraction of the operation, or sum of the elements. All those things you can do it. For example, take an example of sum lambda. I'm going to take a list of arguments, and those arguments will be summed. Pass those arguments. That's it. Now the sum method is ready now. Right? Sum is ready. Just create a new set. Pass that yes. Pass the values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So the result will be 50 plus 90. It's going to be 150. If you execute this, the result will be 150. Simple. All you have to do is use your lambdas to create an anonymous functions. This is traditional way of creating a function, and this is the functional way of creating a program. Okay. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is map. Map is an inbuilt function. Map is an inbuilt Python function, which is already available. And using map, we can add or apply some functionality. We can apply some functionality. That is all you're going to do using that. Okay. So how you're going to use it? You just use map function. That's it. The return statement will be, it returns a map object. Okay. The syntax wise, the map function, it takes two arguments. First argument is the function. Second argument is the sequence. Let me show you how we can use this map method. For example, I'm having a list of numbers in string format. It is in string format. For example, I'm having 10, 5, and I want it 12, and this is 20. I'm having a list of numbers. Now I want the result is, it has to be converted. This should be converted into a list of integers. If it is in a traditional approach, what you do, you create a variable result. You're going to take every element of your number in nums. Then you're going to do what? Convert it into integer. Once it is converted, then you will be adding it to your result. Result.append. Or you add it using append method. Once all element is added, just print the result. This is how you're going to do. See the result. Nums is not defined. Tends to execute it. Yeah, let's rerun this again. Yeah, it's working. Right? So normally, if you want to do any type conversions, you have to take care of all these things. Right? The same thing can be achieved. The same thing can be achieved in a single line. In a single line itself. Let me show you how it is. Yeah. Use a map function. What is the function you are applying? You are doing a type conversion. How you are doing a type conversion of integer? You're using int function. Pass that int. That's it. For which sequence you are passing? Numbers. That's it. Done. That is all you have to do. That's it. Okay. But the return statement of a map function is, it is a map object. That's what I told you, right? The return value of a map is always map object. And if you want it in a readable format, all you have to do a type conversion into list or tuple. So you can read the program. Let's get this. See here, the same thing, all these operations, what you have done is, you can do it in a single line. You don't need to do use of for loops and all. This way, if you are using a loops, it is going to create a performance issues. It is going to create a performance issues, though you are doing some retrieval operations itself. But when you're having a huge amount of data, it is going to cause some performance issues. It is going to delay some time. But using a map, it is very faster way to apply some functionality to your sequence of lines. I'm applying some functionality here, converting back. Okay. Not only that, for example, I'm taking these numbers. Let's assign these same numbers to another variable numbers again. Let's clean this out. So I'm now having a list of integers. This list of integers 10, 5, 12, and 20. For each number, okay, I'm gonna assign some grace marks. For example, these are the list of students mark. Okay, these people are out of 25. This person got 10, this person got 5, this person got 12, right? Okay, for each person, I'm gonna assign increment 2 marks, 2 gracious marks I'm gonna give. How I can do it? Simple. Use the same thing. Use the same thing. Instead of an existing function, and you want to what? Create your own function. That you can do with lambda. Lambdas, right? Take the argument. Take a number from your numbers. For that number, add how many marks? Plus 2 marks. Plus 2 marks. See the result. See the result, which is every person's there is a plus 2 marks got added. This is how you're going to use your map function. Got it? You are taking a function as an input argument and sequence as an argument. Take every element of your sequence and apply that functionality, the function which you have given. This function will take care. If you are passing the argument as is not a function, if this argument is not a function, or either this argument is not a sequence, definitely you'll get syntax errors. Definitely you'll get syntax errors. Be always sure what type of arguments you are passing to your map function. Let's move on to the next topic, which is filters. Using filters function, you can filter the records. You can filter the records. That is what you can do. Okay. So for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a range of numbers. Out of this, I want even numbers separated, odd numbers separate. Even numbers separate, odd numbers separated. How you can do it is in a single line, you can do it with the filters. In a single line itself, you just need a condition. Let me show you. Use a filter condition. Use a filter method. What is the filter condition now? Lambda. Take the argument. What is the argument? It's going to be number. If I don't need to pass that if also. Okay. So use x. If this x modulus, when you are doing this modulus operator, and you get a result is equal to 0. What type of variables you get? Even numbers. You get even numbers. Got it? We'll get that. This is the first argument to your filter function. What is the next argument? You need that range, right? You need all the numbers. All the numbers. As that numbers as secondary argument. Take each argument from your numbers, apply this functionality, and if this functionality is satisfied, then those records will be filtered. Those records will be filtered and it gets added. Now this filter will give you what? A filter object. By default, this filter object is the return type. See here, by default, this filter object is the return type. What you have to do is you have to do type conversion in order to see a readable format. Let's just execute this. Simple. Now what you have done is you have applied a filter condition. You have applied a filter condition to your sequence of numbers. By passing this filter condition, it is getting added. Simple. As soon as this filter condition is satisfied, then only those numbers gets added. If this condition fails, automatically those numbers will be ignored. Okay. So now my even numbers is ready. Said, how about my odd numbers? You said I want odd numbers also, right? You can use same thing. If it is not equal to 0, if it is not equal to 0, then it is not equal to 0. It is what becomes what? Odd number. Let's see this. You got all your odd numbers. Simple. All you have to use your filter function is to filter the records of your sequence. I'm having my sequence, and that sequence, I'm just filtering the records. The same way, it is having a map function. What is the syntax of just a filter? What is the function? And what is the sequence? Take every element of the sequence, If this function is satisfied, then those filter will be added. Otherwise, it will just get ignored. That is how you can do a filter operations. And finally, we'll move on to the last topic, which is reduce. Is reduce. Using reduce, okay, using reduce, when you are having a sequence of elements into a single element, okay, reduce a sequence of elements to a single element. That is reduce. What does it mean? Let me show you what happens. What does this line mean? Same thing. Reduce also does the same thing. Take a reduce method. This reduce function pass. This reduce function pass function. These are the two arguments. If you observe here, reduce is not default available. You have to import it. We have to import it. From where you can import it is available in the module function tools. From function tools, import the reduce. Okay. See here, as soon as I imported, the reduce is gone. I didn't even execute it. And sequence, you can generate the sequence. For example, I'm having a numbers as a sequence. We have to pass the sequence. This is the syntax. Got it? So let me show you the example of reduce. So I'm having reduce. What is the function? I'm gonna do some. Let me do a factorial operations or some operations, all those operation multiplications. You can do all these operations. All you have to do is you are just sequencing it to, and you are converting that entire sequence into a single element. Okay. So for example, take a very basic example. You are taking two numbers, A, B, converting into A plus B. Okay. So what is the sequence? Pass that even numbers. Or either pass whole numbers. So it is easier for us to calculate. Got it? So when you're having a sum function, in this sum function, pass the numbers. What is the result? You got 190, right? The same thing can be achieved using this as well. See here. Reduce is not defined. It looks like we have not executed this one. Yes, it is executed. And let's run this. Simple. You want a product. You want product of those numbers. You can do that also. Simple. Just do this, which is instead of plus, you just do multiplication. You get the product of those numbers. Okay. That is a reduce. You're just taking a sequence of numbers into a single number. And you have reduce, it is not defaultly available, and you have to import from your function tools. And the return statement is also a number. We don't have to do any type conversions and all. It is the directory. It just returns the values. That is all for today. And we'll meet up in the next session.